Hello and welcome back to another edition of Media Entrées, Food for Thought. So here we are again as a community, as a society, where we find ourselves in this very peculiar place and space, particularly for black folks. It's just like the great abolitionist W.E.B Dubois said in his book, The Souls of Black Folks. It's like black people have to live this twoness, two lives, where one being black and one being in America. So my question is, when will black people be able to live one life? When will black people be able to live one life and live it freely? So we have this situation with George Floyd, where we have protesters, people wanting their voices to be heard, people wanting to voice their concerns and raise awareness, because this is a very serious issue in this moment in time. But one thing we can't afford to do as a community and even as a society is to go back and forth with each other about how to express yourself, how to raise awareness and things like that. Because you have people on both sides saying, hey, well, you guys should be doing this and you all should be doing it like this. And we can't afford to do that, because we saw that just a little while ago in the case of Ahmaud Arbery. We saw people going back and forth online and in the media and things like that saying, well, why was he jogging in the area? I mean, you saw people, like black people, saying this about Ahmaud Arbery. Why was he jogging in the area? Why was he lurking by the empty house? If that was my property, I would have went to see what was up with him too and stuff like that. You saw black people. I saw this. I saw black people making comments like this and making posts like this with my own eyes. I'm not just saying it to play devil's advocate. So what we had was people going back and forth about that, and why that happened, while we're going back and forth about whether or not he should have been there, what you essentially saying is you're going back and forth about whether or not this man should be alive. That's what you're doing when you say stuff like that. You're saying, should this man be alive? You're essentially saying that. Okay? So we're going back and forth about whether or not this man should be alive, really? Okay? And while we're doing that, and people are arguing that it happens again with Sean Reed, okay? Right? Because we're bickering, people are bickering, and then another incident happens where somebody is killed by the police. And I know everybody have their differences of opinion with this situation with Sean Reed. Sean Reed was the young man who led the police on a high-speed chase. He was on Facebook Live recording it, hopped out, got tased, and shot. Now, me personally, I think Sean Reed, something was wrong. He wasn't mentally stable. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion about Sean Reed, because during the video he said something like, "This is fun." He had the police on a high-speed chase. This is fun. And there's nothing fun about leading the police on a high-speed chase. I don't care how tough you are, who you are. There's nothing fun about it, because there are only a few outcomes that can come from there, and all of them are bad, right? One, you're going to either, wreck, cause an accident, hurt yourself, or possibly hurt somebody else, right? Two, you get away and end up a fugitive, which is still bad. And then three was what happened, the unfortunate tragedy of him losing his life, right? And like I said, I felt like something was wrong with him emotionally, mentally. Something wasn't stable. It's my opinion about that. But while we were going back and forth with Arbery, Sean Reed dies, and we can't forget about Breonna Taylor. Can't forget about her. And then we still failed to come together and find solutions to, improve the relations between law enforcement and our communities. So what happens? George Floyd. George Floyd comes and disrupts everything. right? So you have protesters out here now in the streets, and they're trying to have their voices heard, and they're trying to bring awareness about some policies that need to happen, things that needs to take place, because this moment in time will pass. This too will pass over time. So we got to find out ways to really attack this problem once it does pass. Because one thing about time, it doesn't stop for anybody. It's going to keep going. And when the people are no longer in the streets on a day-to-day, this too will pass. And how are we going to pass it? We're going to, go back to business as usual? Or are we going to pass this into the right hands of the people who can make some difference and structure some real organization to get some policy change and things like that can attack the racist mindset of a lot of people in this society? Because the late great Nina Simone said, slavery has never been abolished from America's way of thinking, right? From America's way of thinking. And until we put some policies in place that attack America's way of thinking and abolish slavery from the mindset of America, then, not too much is going to change. All right. So we got protesters saying this, and we need, so we need structure. We need structure in the protest in the organization, because you have one side of the people, they have organized protests, peaceful protests. What I mean by organized protests, they're led by organizations and civic leaders and community activists and even politicians and people like that, community leaders. On the other side, you have some gatherings, right? You have some gatherings. And I'm just going to call it like it is. They're causing chaos. They're causing a lot of chaos. So you have this back and forth about this right here, about, whose side, who's doing this and who's doing that. And we can't afford to do that. We cannot. Like I said, we have to put this in the hands of some people who can make a difference, because once this does pass, and it will pass, we have to be ready to take some effective action, to mobilize, to come up with some strategies that will attack America's way of thinking. America's way of thinking. All right. We have to do it. Probably we have to start locally. I mean, we can forget about the White House and people out there. We know that guy. I mean, our community is just not a priority for him. It's just not. It's not a priority for him. It doesn't seem like it is. So what we can do, we can start local with our local politicians and representatives. And we have like our congressman here in Memphis and Tennessee. District 9, Steve Corn is our congressman. So we can start there, right? And those people can, we can solicit help from them, from people like that, and those people can take our agenda a little further. Because as Memphians, we helped him get elected into that spot in the 9th Congressional District. We're in Memphis, in our community, we helped him, so we could solicit help from our congressmen and people like that. Now, our 2 senators, I'm not sure where their priorities are right now. I'm not sure. Marsha Blackburn, Lamar Alexander, I'm just not sure. So we gotta go to where our help is. But we do have people that I think that we can solicit help from in the Senate, such as Kamala Harris in California, Cory Booker in New Jersey, people like that. Those are just a couple of examples. We do have people that can advocate for us on that level to try to push our agenda on a national level. So we need to start there. And don't forget about our state senators, right? Our state senators and state representatives and things like that, because these are the people who, allocate the resources for our state. There are state senators, right? And things like that. So these people meet and they have their meetings and stuff like that to allocate real educational resources to our community, programs and things like that. So y'all, we need to get familiar with these people and solicit help from them as well. So we need to start there, because like I said, this too will pass. And when it does pass, how are we going to pass it? whose hands are we going to pass it to? You know, because everybody's got these conspiracies about this agenda with black people, and especially the young black males and out there about, oh, there's a gay agenda, there's a mass incarceration agenda, there's a economic suppression agenda. I mean, some of that may be true, but the real agenda is elimination, y'all. Just gonna be for real with y'all. The real agenda is elimination. However they achieve that, they're cool with it. If they can make us all one way, you know, whatever, hey, they're cool with that. They could take all the masculinity away, they can lock everybody up, they can take all the economics. However they can achieve that, and I mean, when I mean they, I mean the racist mindset of white supremacy and the people that are in authority with that mindset. The agenda is elimination. It always has been since 1619. And here we are, 2020, right? Even though we've had the emancipation and slavery was abolished, and we had the passing of the 13th Amendment and all those things, slavery and that mindset still wasn't abolished from America's way of thinking. So we have to come up, like I said, with solutions for that. We have to be ready to seize this moment when this time passes, because it will pass. What I mean by pass, I mean the day-to-day in the streets. That time, those things will pass, and we have to be ready to seize the moment and not just go back to business as usual. That's all I have to say about that. I appreciate you all for watching. If you're watching this video, please share it. Subscribe to the Media Entrées YouTube page, and get in touch with me on Facebook as well, Media Entrées page. So until next time, I'll see you all then.